Hey everybody, how's it going? Welcome to NoDQ&A video right here on NoDQ.com, as well as the YouTube channel and NoDQ&A videos affiliate, ringsidenews.com. Got your questions regarding the world of wrestling, so let's get started here today with the first one from Carl Johnson. Vince freaks out about ratings. Easy solution, get Daniel Bryan back on TV. Doesn't matter how, but get Daniel Bryan back. Daniel Bryan, as great as he is not the solution to WWE's ratings problems. And even Jim Ross himself mentioned this about Daniel Bryan, and that him coming back is not going to bring up the ratings. The problem with WWE is not who's on the show, but the content of the show itself. It's the writing, it's the storylines. That is what WWE needs to work on, making more intriguing television shows. Bring back cliffhangers, have a reason to care about what's going on the television shows, and change things up a bit. Stop doing the same thing over and over every single week. It's stale. You need some creativity. You need more compelling storylines. That's the bottom line. That is the reason why the ratings are down. It doesn't matter who's on the show or who's not on the show. It's the content of the show. And I would love to see Daniel Bryan back, but that is not the answer to WWE's problems. Got this one here from RealScreen88. Would you agree that divas like Charlotte and Becky Lynch need to improve on the mic if this Divas revolution is to be successful? I feel that in order for the Divas revolution to be successful, you need to let the women go out there and have memorable matches. You need to let them go out there and actually wrestle. For too long, it's all about the divas be in the bathroom break match, and it's been about hiring models and having them sell calendars and DVDs, and they're just basically eye candy. You really need to give the women more credibility as wrestlers, give them longer matches, give them more intriguing storylines, more television time, which WWE, to their credit, is starting to do. We're starting to see divas having longer matches and more storylines, but the storylines need to be good. If you're going to do these storylines with Paige breaking up with her team and then she teams up with them again and then she loses matches when you're trying to build her up as a top character, that's just going to be counterproductive, and that's just going to hurt this Divas revolution. And you only get one good shot at it. If you don't do it correctly, then you come back and you try to do another Divas revolution, it's not going to have the same amount of impact and people aren't going to take it seriously. So it's really critical. WWE says they're making changes. They need to go all the way with it. If they just go halfway, if it's just a half measure, then it's not going to work out in the long run. WWE really needs to commit themselves to making this work and just changing the way that they present the divas on the main roster. Alright, this one comes from Mark Harborne. Now that Bray Wyatt has a beast of his stable, could you see him getting a run with the WWE title? No, I think it's too little too late with the Bray Wyatt character. Having him add more people to his faction doesn't really give the faction more credibility, in my opinion. And I'm not convinced that Braun Strowman is going to be a long-term successful character in WWE. I think it's given a little bit of life to the Wyatt family stable, and it's giving them something to do, but it doesn't necessarily enhance Bray Wyatt's character and make him more of a credible contender to be a WWE champion. I just don't think that that's the case, and I think that you can bring in more people to the stable. That's fine and dandy for the Wyatt family, but it doesn't do much for Bray himself. Alright, this one comes from Ryan Schmidt. Hey Aaron, do you think it's time the former Shield members get new entrance music? I'd like to see Seth get the Game by Drowning Pool. I have no problem with Seth Rollins' music or Dean Ambrose music. With Roman Reigns, I understand why they had him keep the Shield music, because the Shield was really over and they were hell-bent on keeping Roman Reigns over, so they let him have the Shield music, they let him keep the Shield attire. But I really feel Roman Reigns could benefit from a little bit of a character makeover, and I'm surprised they haven't given him new theme music yet. One would think maybe they do a remix of the Shield theme and add lyrics to it like they did with Batista. He had a generic theme song with no lyrics, and then they redid it with the lyrics and all that. You know, I figured that they would do something like that with Roman Reigns. You know, give him a makeover, just change up his look a little bit, change his music, you know, do something different with him. You know, I think some fans feel that he's just coasting along on the Shield, on the success of the Shield, by having the entrance music and the same look. So yeah, I would definitely change things up with Roman Reigns a little bit, at the very least. Alright, this one comes from MUFC WWE. Hey Aaron, do you think we will eventually see a Kevin Owens versus Sami Zayn feud for the IC title? If Sami Zayn comes back in the next couple months and he is promoted to the main roster, I would love to see that feud. I'm not sure if he will come back and be on the main roster. They may want to have him on NXT for a little bit just to see how he's doing and make sure he's 100% and ready to go. But if Kevin Owens is a long-term IC champion, which I think he should be, then maybe sometime early next year. You know, I would love to see Kevin Owens versus Sami Zayn for the IC title at WrestleMania. I think that would be a really solid match for WrestleMania and would help both of those guys and elevate them in WWE. I would start building towards that match. If Sami Zayn's ready to go at the start of the new year, you can have him show up maybe in the Royal Rumble and go after Kevin Owens, and you could start the feud that way. I think that would be a tremendous match to do for WrestleMania. Alright, this one comes from Juan. Hey Aaron, do you think that they will ever have WrestleMania in Mexico? I definitely feel that that's more of a possibility than WrestleMania being in the UK. Another WrestleMania in Mexico, well actually they haven't done a WrestleMania in Mexico, what I was trying to say was another WrestleMania in Canada. You know, that's a possibility. Mexico is a possibility because it's all North America, and I feel that there's a decent chance of that because WWE doesn't have to worry about the whole the time change and all that. You know, if they were going to do something in the UK, that could be a big issue with the spoilers getting out, and I just don't see WWE doing that for WrestleMania and having to adjust the times that people have to get up at a certain time to watch it or whatever. You know, WWE's not going to take that chance with WrestleMania, but since Mexico's North America, you know, that could very well work. Maybe one day WWE will do a WrestleMania in Mexico City, you know. I would not rule it out. At this point, there's been no indication they're going to do that, but maybe one day it will happen. I think it's more of a likely possibility than doing something in the UK. Alright, this one comes from Cody Moyer. I presume you pronounce it Cody instead of Exody. I don't know. Hey Aaron, do you ever see Vince Russo or Eazy-E being inducted into the WWE Hall of Fame? Please answer in video. Eric Bischoff, yes, for sure. Vince Russo, I don't know about that one. Eric Bischoff is clearly on good terms with WWE. He just did that appearance in that interview with JBL, and he's getting involved in WWE projects. To me, there's no question that one day he will go into the Hall of Fame. It's just a matter of when. With Russo, he's not on good terms with WWE right now. Perhaps one day. I mean, maybe he's on decent terms. I mean, he did make an appearance on a recent WWE DVD project, but the fact is they haven't really said anything positive about Russo as of late, and he's more or less been erased from history, and when they do mention him, it's usually in a negative light. Anything's possible, though. Never thought the Ultimate Warrior would go into the Hall of Fame. Never thought Bruno Sammartino would go into the Hall of Fame, but both of those guys, especially Bruno, had major careers. Vince Russo was part of WWE in the creative process during the company's most successful era, but that was a very short period of time, and you know, he's been gone for many years in WWE, and a lot of people don't think highly of the guy. So Russo, I think, is very much a long shot. Alright, this one comes from Mr. Yuck. NoDQ reports John Cena to miss some time. Does this hint to him dropping the belt? Who would you like to see the torch pass to eventually? Well, as I mentioned in the last video, Dolph Ziggler is the guy that makes sense right now, and I think there could be better candidates to beat John Cena. Ideally, you would have somebody who's an up-and-comer beat John Cena and establish that guy as a new major superstar. Dolph Ziggler's been around for a long time, so it's just Cena losing to a guy who's already been around. But I think Ziggler being the guy to beat John Cena is just fine. You know, as long as somebody can get the rub from beating John Cena and beating him, I don't want to say 100% fairly, but as close to a clean win as possible to help get that guy over. And you know, that's the only way you can truly pass the torch. If somebody beats John Cena and it's a tainted victory, you know, it doesn't really mean much. It's beating the guy clean or as close to clean as possible that can really help that guy and elevate him to the next level. Alright, this one comes from David Duvall. I want to ask, what is more important to a match, good storytelling or good wrestling spots? In my opinion, I think the storytelling is more important. I think that you know, good wrestling spots is fine, but at the end of the day, in order to draw in a wide mainstream audience, you have to have compelling stories and interesting characters. You can have all the great wrestling in the world. If it was all about wrestling spots and just pure wrestling, Ring of Honor would be a mainstream phenomenon, and it's not. WWE is the big game in town, and it's because they took wrestling and made it like a rock concert, this larger-than-life super show with these cartoon-like characters and superhero-like characters and all the glitz and the glamour. You know, that's what WWE has done. They made it, you know, they made it entertainment, and they took it to a whole new level that it wasn't at before. And that is what it's all about. It's really a combination of everything. It's good to have the in-ring product being solid, and you want to have compelling characters, and you want to have storylines that are fun to watch, and you want to have storylines that are compelling enough so where you want to keep tuning in and seeing what's going to happen next. So it really is a combination of everything, but I would say the storytelling is really critical. Alright, this one comes from Robert J. Hey Aaron, long-time viewer, first-time asker. Do you think Neville will be WWE World Heavyweight Champion? If so, when? No, I do not see him becoming WWE Champion anytime soon, if ever. I think that he will always have a decent role in WWE as long as he's around, but I don't think he's going to get to that spot. He just doesn't fit the mold of the WWE Champion. He doesn't really have the look. He definitely doesn't have the height. Doesn't really have the mic skills. There's a lot of things he's missing. He's a great athlete and you know, really fun to watch, but the odds are very much against him becoming WWE Champion. And somebody out there will say, well, Daniel Bryan did it. But Daniel Bryan, he somehow managed to overcome the odds. And, you know, he had a lot of luck. It's really going to take a lot of luck for anybody like a Daniel Bryan or a Neville to become WWE Champion. You know, Bryan had to overcome so much, and all the cards had to align properly. All the stars had to align properly. The cards had to fall into place for Daniel Bryan to become WWE Champion. Alright, that'll wrap it up for this edition of NoDQ&A video. Thanks as always for watching. If you enjoyed today's video, please share it on Facebook, Twitter, any social media site that you go on. And tell a friend, anybody you know who watches wrestling, have them check out NoDQ&A video. And I will see you guys next time for more.